What is Christmas all about? We have a tree here. We have lights up. And I'm sure at home you have done some baking and cooking. You wrapped some gifts and did decorating. And you may have listened to music, and there's this beautiful music here, and we have candlelight. All of that is a wonderful part of Christmas. But Christmas is a little bit more than that. Christmas is when we go a little bit deeper what this is all about. Now, see the tree. I guess every one of you has a tree in your home. And when you drive by and walk by, you see many trees in other people's homes. Now, the tree, we have it. Why do we have that tree? Well, it's a symbol for the tree of life. Right at the beginning, when God planted a garden, there was a tree of life at the center of the garden, and Adam and Eve were there, connected, heart, mind, and soul with the living God. Now, one way or another, that first tree of life was felled. Adam and Eve expelled, and ever since, each and every one tries to find our way home to be with God, just like at the beginning, just connected to the tree of life, to the river of life, to the source of life, to the living God. And since that initial tree of life is not available to us right now, right here anymore, we put these trees up as a symbol of the new life growing. From the Old Testament already, that tree that was felled from the stump of Jesse, there is a new shoot coming, new life growing, life sprouting in the darkness, in the cold, in the winter, new life growing, the tree of life here. And some old traditions have always at least one apple on the Christmas tree, remembering the tree of life from very early on, our connection to the living God. Now, also on the tree and around us, we have little lights. It hasn't been that long ago, at least for the older ones among us, that there was no electric light just a couple of generations ago. There was no GPS, there was no compass. What did people do then? Well, they looked at the stars, and the stars gave them orientation where they navigated at night, looking at the stars. Which way are we to go? Which way is east? Which way is the right direction? Which way? So these lights, the candles, are to point us in the right direction, to the source of light, to the true light, the guiding light in our lives that we're drawn to, that we're pulled to, and that light that we are to reflect through our lives. Now, when you see in a nativity, you will always see in the nativity shepherds. You can see one of these little shepherds here, and he holds a sheep, a lamb in his arms, and he's looking up. Now, shepherds were the people at that time who were not so reputable. They were left out, they were discarded, they were out in the dark, just left out. And don't we all sometimes feel a little bit left out, a little bit disregarded, not so important, not looked upon kindly, not favored and lifted up with love and care? So just like the shepherds, to whom the joy and the mystery of the light and of the living Christ is being revealed on Christmas Eve when Jesus was born, to them the angel came first. Glory to you, a Savior is born. So the shepherd parts in us, the ones that are more left out, are drawn in and invited in, and the light shines on them, and the light shines on each one of us as well. Now, when you also look at the Nativity, you will never, ever miss a Mary, because there is no baby without Mary. You see Mary here? And she's holding and folding her hands over her heart, just a symbol of her love and her care. Her heart is overflowing with joy and with love for her baby. The beautiful thing about Mary is that she gives birth to Jesus. She brings God, the real God, into the world. That was her role. Now, also, each and every one of you and we have somewhat of a similar role in this world. For you, very uniquely in your own way, are here to bring something into the world. There are some things that only you can do. As Mary carried Jesus under her heart and gave birth to him, was filled with love and joy, exuberance. In the same way, you have a role to give birth to something. What are you called to? What draws you in? What brings you joy? What do you get excited about? What energizes you? What are you on fire for? What gets you going? And that is to come into the world in you and through you. And with the attitude of Mary, we have heard at the very end of the Christmas story, it says she took all those words in and she treasured them in her heart. She held them and she mulled over them and she was moved by them. And somehow they took a hold in her. And in the same way, you are invited to open up and be drawn in and give life to what you are called, what gives you energy again. And then there is the baby, yeah. And we have several babies here among us. And those who are grown up still have a baby at heart somewhere in there too. And that is welcome, and that is to be held and be delighted in and be rejoiced in. And I think when we share the light later on, always look again at the person next to you. Always look again when you see someone. And look deeper and look for the beauty, for the living Christ in that person. So when we share the light, you may share the light and you may look in the other person's eyes and then keep looking for a little bit. And when someone looks a little bit longer, you may think like you're getting a little bit uncomfortable looking longer. It may get uncomfortable. But look again, look a little bit longer, look with eyes of love, and you will feel your heart warming up. You will feel the beauty, the warmth rising in you, and the joy and the love that finds expression in the eyes. So always look again for the baby, look again for the love, look again for the beauty of all those around you when you turn to each other. So hear my invitation for you right now. All of you, look to the right. Who is sitting there? Okay. Now the other half, look to the left so you can see each other. Can you see each other? Okay. Look into each other's eyes. Can you look? Who is sitting next to you? Look into your eyes. Can you look? Look. And look a little bit longer, a little bit with warmth, a little bit with kindness, with warmth. Can you look it? Can you feel it, the beauty? How God is real in us and among us when we look again. That's when Christ is being born again in our midst. when we look more deeply and when we look with love. That's when joy is coming alive and is rising in us.